Well, what's up, Hype Network?
Man.
This is episode 30 of the Hype Pod.
Hype Pod.
Episode 30.
If this is your first time listening, welcome. Welcome to the Hype Pod.
Yep.
Please like, comment, subscribe if you're a returning
Look at
subscriber.
you doing your job.
Listen, we're going to get better each week. You know what I'm saying?
It never ceases to amaze me. This morning, actually, at Vive Group this morning with some men, somebody just commented again. They listened to the last episode. Kim listened to the last episode. She's like, wow, you guys were really funny.
No way.
You guys were really funny. I was like, well, thank you so
huge.
much. Wow, that meant a lot.
We got
This is
Mrs.
my
Roush.
love language that you
That's-
listen to the podcast.
That's amazing. But I do want to know, like, does the classic like, subscribe, does it actually work?
I don't
do
know if it does.
I want to know, are you guys out there really
Yeah.
just stopping listening to this, going and hitting the subscribe button?
People still do it. I hear it on videos,
think so?
YouTube videos, but I don't know.
I mean,
if it
everyone
works.
does it, but
Yeah,
it's almost
because
like
it works,
we
yeah.
have to do that.
That's true.
Anyway,
that's true.
let's go beyond that. Let's get to talking. What are we talking about today?
Wait, I actually want to know, does Pastor Kira, has she gone past half of that episode? Or
No, I don't think
she's not past half of
No,
the episode.
I think
Okay.
she listened to her session back.
Hey, it's still one episode.
That's a whole one
That's
episode.
She's like, this one's really good.
We need more of this.
That's a great content.
Yeah. All right, so I wanted to just catch up because it's been a couple weeks since we had our last pod. And you guys have been doing some pretty cool stuff, at least following you guys on Instagram. So,
Oh, yeah.
I just want to start with you, Pastor Vance. You were at Soma Church recently, right? I just wanted to hear about what you've been getting up to.
Oh man, yeah, we've been at a couple churches actually recently. Overflow customers. Sometimes they'll have me come out and also speak on the topic of generosity. Really, it's just sharing what God is doing at Vive Church, sharing what we've been seeing in the Silicon Valley at large, and also in the Kingdom of God. So it's been really, really cool. I mean, Hickory, North Carolina. I mean. Is really, you're on your way through it typically to get to where you really want to go.
Right.
But there's this beautiful church called Soma Church, a modern expression of church there, which was really, really great. And what's really cool is that they just recently purchased the largest building in their city.
Wow.
Which is really awesome. It's 120,000 square feet.
I was going to say, is it 15,000 square feet?
120,000 square feet for $500,000. No,
Oh my God.
but actually, it used to be occupied by a Fortune 100 company.
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, long story short, the company had to move, not doing the best. And now it used to be Fortune 100, and now it's a place of faith and worship.
Wow, look at that.
Which is really, really cool.
really cool.
And so they're doing that. And then we were recently at the Great Awaken Church.
Let's go.
Pastor Jurgen and Leanne, they are building a phenomenal church in San Diego. All that to say, God is moving
Yeah.
all over
Yeah,
the nation. It's pretty
definitely.
cool. Yeah.
That's awesome. And then Pastor Adam, I know we've chatted about by Frankfurt when you went
Yes.
previously, but this time you had the worship night.
We did worship night in Frankfurt. That was outstanding.
Man.
Yeah.
It was awesome
Epic.
because the last time we did an interest night and it was just like, hey, let's give you some information about the church. This one felt like, let's just do church.
Yeah,
Let's really seek God. It was packed out. Nice. We had 410 people in a room that legally I think seats 390. So we had a balcony. That felt good. A balcony always feels good when a balcony's full. Yeah. And we had some of our Vive worship members from here go over. Deb, who recently got engaged to one of our team members there.
Let's go.
Okay, so they're getting married.
Nice.
She sang a whole bridge in German. That went off. That went off.
That's really cool.
I flexed my 2 words in German. That went off.
What are the two words?
I can't remember.
Never mind.
but I asked somebody before I went up,
yeah,
like,
nice.
what should I
Well,
say?
I'll say this. I mean, I watched it online, and I've got to be with you in person in Italy, preaching all over Italy. This was probably, and I just saw it online, but this was probably the most you've been in flow preaching.
Oh my
with a
gosh.
translation.
So Vance,
Yeah.
I hate translation preaching.
Of course you do.
Like I've expressed to Vance so many times, like I hate translate. I'm like, can we just get people in the headphones and I'll just speak and someone do the translate. But every time we're in Italy or in Frankfurt, they love the live, to and fro.
Oh, so is it like line translate, line
It's
translate?
kind of like that, but
interesting.
you can get into a rhythm. Historically, I haven't, but this trip, both in Frankfurt and Modena, with Pastor Henok and Pastor Fabio, man, we were locked.
Oh, nice.
And it was fun. We were just hitting it together and picking it up. And I just even threw some stuff in there that we hadn't planned. Just go for it.
What was the difference maker?
I think it's spirit. I think it was definitely the spirit of what they were carrying. We didn't do any notes in Frankfurt. I just kind of went with what I felt the Holy Spirit was speaking. So it wasn't really a planned message. I was just speaking, out of the heart of what worship is and that kind of stuff. And he was just flowing with me. And then in in Modena. We launched Modena too, by the way,
Yep.
on Sunday, which was absolutely epic. Do not sleep on Modena. It is for a small town of 180,000 people. It has produced some incredible talent. You got Ferrari. You got Pagani. You have Lamborghini just down the road in Bologna. You have, I don't know if you remember the opera singer Pavarotti comes from Modena.
Wow.
And this different food. You got gnocco frito. Now, if you've never had gnocco frito, it'll change your life. It's like these puff pastries with some crudo and formaggi. You know, it's like it's just amazing. But we ate well, and the people are awesome.
Yeah.
I love the people of Modena. So the fact that we got a church there, epic. And Fabio was flowing with me. So it was a great ministry week.
That's amazing. You know, on the topic of translation, I think this is so interesting. I sent you a video, actually, I think earlier today, where that might be the next wave of innovation. Is audio,
the AI engine.
AI audio engines,
Was
right?
it OpenAI?
I don't know which LLM it was based on.
Okay,
You can imagine that this is probably a whole area there's going to be a lot of development in. But there was this recent presentation on TED where this AI audio-based system, you basically have these headphones in your ears. And you know how like at a restaurant, it's really difficult to maybe connect with your friends across the table because you can't really hear them, all the ambient noise. Well, it does a few things. It can lock in to specific voices across the table. Yeah. You can actually talk to it and say, hey, can you turn down the baby crying in the back? It turns
Just
that
from the
down
headphone?
from the headphone.
Yeah. Wow.
So it turns that down.
Cool.
And then, you know, his friends are talking in Spanish. He's like, hey, can you translate the Spanish into English? And in his voice and cadence, it translates
That was wild.
to English almost in real time. It looks like a dubbed movie, but it's in the atmosphere. It's in kind of the cadence and the likeness of that person.
That is awesome.
Right? Yeah. Which is so interesting because I think this opens up a whole new wave of ministry.
Oh my gosh.
Right? It allows you, I mean, spirit talks to spirit, and having somebody like a Henoch obviously probably lent to the best experience, but if it could be even more real time.
Yeah, because I think what I've hated about translation is you lose so much of the humor, the delivery, the climactic moments of a message. We're not just doing a conversation. We're not just doing a presentation. This ain't Sweet Speed. We're actually preaching the gospel, right? And so we've got. Sorry, man. I haven't even watched it back. But the fact is, when you're waiting, you have to literally halve the content. So because you're doubling up the communication, so you have to do half the content. You end up having to cut out the fat.
Yeah.
And sometimes the fat is the fun. Sometimes it's the way you deliver something that actually makes it revelational as well. So that'd be fun. I'm very interested in this.
So this is Hype Pod, which means it's Faith Pod. Just random theological question. Ooh. Is this Tower of Babel modern day?
Oh, I see where you're going.
Is this Tower
One
of Babel?
language?
Yeah.
Really?
Are we, or is it just different?
I think if AI convinces us to build a tower to reach God, then I think we're in.
Okay. Sure.
It's like we're definitely, well, maybe a fictitious tower. Are we going to take over God? Has that become the language? Are we, if it starts talking about smarter than God, then I'll start getting worried.
Okay, because this is the thing, right? I don't know if you guys listened to the most recent All In podcast with Sam Altman, the founder and CEO of OpenAI. By the way, he's getting just torn apart on X right now because they were like, he said nothing. Like he just has all these philosophical platitudes that were not insightful at all. And
in a podcast.
And he's just like a really slow talker. You know how you know when you have slow talkers, and you're like you're on 2x, and this is still slow. Like what's happening right now? And so
or long pauses.
Yeah. Oh, that's what he does.
Okay.
That's exactly what he does.
I don't like when they. That's really annoying to me.
It's not automatic intelligence when you do that. Okay, it's just like
it's not top of the dome. That's for sure.
Pondering. That's a ponder pause. He's so smart. He doesn't know how to articulate.
Which is awkward on a podcast. Imagine in real life. Like you're like, do I talk now? Have you finished talking? That's hard.
So he was actually saying something really interesting though. And it was kind of like a one-off comment, but a lot of people have picked up on it in the religious world because he was like, yeah, it's just, with AI and the emergence of it, it's almost as if intelligence is just another function of matter. right? And it was kind of like this. He didn't go in depth into it, but I think a lot of people were kind of taking that soundbite, and I don't exactly know what he meant by it, but I think they were taking that soundbite and like, oh, this is interesting. You can see people that are working in AI in real time are trying to form their theology about AI. They're trying to form their theology about even where intelligence comes from.
Right.
Which is really interesting.
The people who are in the engine of AI.
Yeah, who are creating these models, right? Because
I would assume they would be the people on the forefront of realizing, hey, this is just something we've made. Like, we've fed it information and it's just regurgitating what we've fed it. Rather than the people who don't know how it's made, are like, wow, is this a god? Because it knows so much. But the people who make it are actually the ones going, oh, actually, we just fed it a whole bunch of content.
See, that's an interesting idea, because I think there's another perspective where, and I don't know what Sam Altman meant, but it's the way he said it. If you guys watch the podcast, the way he said it was almost, because they're all in the pursuit of creating AGI.
Right.
Right. And the way he said it was almost as if like, oh, we're gonna create
fired?
intelligence.
Yeah.
And that's the speculation, right?
Yeah.
The speculation is that he has dangerous thoughts
Right.
about AGI.
Yeah.
Because that's what I thought one of the theories was. He got fired by the board because they were too worried they got close to AGI.
Yeah. And this, I think recently one of their top researchers, Ilya, is officially just got let go. And
He just got let go.
Yeah.
Wasn't he the CTO or something?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But he's probably one of the best minds in like.
He knows too much.
He knows something and he's not happy with. Well, that's a rumor about the direction it's going. It relates probably to AGI. And Sam Altman in all of his interviews has been talking like this, very like high level, like deep stuff about like almost like
Like elusive?
Very elusive, I feel like.
Yeah, like he knows there's something that he wants to say, but he can't say, and it's just there, like this like superpower. So
that's interesting.
So we'll see. Watch this space.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's very interesting. And actually on that, I was going to talk about Google versus OpenAI. So OpenAI maybe 2-3 days ago, a day before Google I/O, basically, they had a huge presentation about ChatGPT or 4.0. And so this is like their multimodal model. So vision, audio, all of that. They had a demo on translation as well. So it was like lifetime translation, but it was with a phone. So it seems much cooler to have it on your headphones and not have to have that distraction of your phone kind of being there.
I think it depends on the setting, right?
Yeah, sure.
So if we're trying to have a conversation, this is so easy to have headphones on and we're interacting. But I think the phone is such a cool device. I actually find it's going to be very difficult to get beyond a phone.
Yes.
Like, we're talking about the Rabbit AI pin and wearables, and they're looking at glasses and all these different things. Like, I think the more I think about it, I don't know what's better than just a device.
The phone is pretty good.
I can put away.
Amazing.
I can bring it out. It's a hand. It's the culture and society. We're so used to this. I think Vision Pro is having a hard time right now.
Yeah.
They stopped production.
Right. And is it price point, or is it the fact that it's a wearable that you're not going to wear in everyday use?
Yeah, there's no way.
There's no way. It's too
You know
big.
what I mean?
It's
It's
massive.
just massive.
It would have to be glasses.
It would have to. It has
And
to
eventually
be,
contacts.
honestly, go
But we
back to
tried
Google
that.
Glass, right? Yeah, but I think Google Glass was ahead of its time. But that kind of form factor where it's this small and it's just augmented reality, I think is what we're looking for.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm not a glass wearer, so
Yeah, then why would you wear? Yeah,
why would I wear
It
glasses?
would have to be contacts eventually.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
but that would be. I mean, that'd be.
It
Crazy.
would have to be contacts connected to like Neuralink, right?
So maybe it's just Neuralink,
And maybe it's just Neuralink.
and it's just thought. Maybe you don't even need to see anything; you just think it.
Right. And
Well, I think there's
Device free.
A lot of the
Device
learning
free.
comes from the vision, right? So I do think
Well,
that
that's
you
the
have to have
input.
you have to have a vision input, and maybe Neuralink is connected to like I don't know how
It
the
might be,
brain
because-
works.
yeah.
Guys, I'll tell you how it works. It's got
Everybody
to connect to the optical nerve. You know what I mean? And then you got to go.
You know
through
what I
the,
mean?
You got to go through the iris.
That's scientific.
All right. And if your pupil dilates at all, that's a selection. Okay.
Nice.
So,
Wow.
yeah, you're welcome.
Elon, move aside.
You're welcome.
You can only get this stuff at the High Pod, guys. So.
But the step that was interesting about it is that we've talked about who's going to win the AI war. Like really, it's like an arms race at this point. We
Sure
got
is.
OpenAI, Microsoft. Now there's a rumor Apple is going to partner with OpenAI to get their AI on their phones, because I think Apple is probably the furthest behind with
Yep.
their AI technology. Facebook has theirs with Llama, so they have an open source LLM that they're working on. And so now it's Google, right? It's Google, which should have been the leader in all of this.
Based on its data, yeah.
Based on its data, right? And so they had their I/O 2 days ago. They announced basically the same suite of tools
Yep.
that OpenAI did, but they had it on your phone. So now you have it all connected to all data that you have, your Gmail, your Google suite of tools. And I think that's what makes it really different.
It was compelling. The recent demo that I saw, it was pretty cool. Here's my take on the AI wars. And I could be wrong based on our last episode. I could be wrong.
Oh, nice.
But I will say this. I saw a recent interview, Sundar, right?
Yeah.
CEO of Google. I don't know, man. I don't know if he has the dog in him. You know? Like when I listen to Zuckerberg.
Well, he's controlled by the CIA.
Probably. But here's the thing, like when I listen to Zuckerberg.
Why are you laughing?
It's about to take a turn. So
No. All right. So let me. Sorry to interrupt you, Vance. Sorry to interrupt you.
And
but
the turn has to be taken.
If you're going to place a bet
Right.
on who's going to be the winning horse, you have to know the background. You have
Okay.
to know the motivation. Okay. Now, OpenAI is definitely an engine, a brain trust of people who are, I think, purists. They're trying to really explore what AI engineering is. Google, as you said, have been on this for a long time. They should be the leader.
Yeah.
They have been pioneering this probably since maybe early 2000s, late 90s. Okay, so they've actually had this all the way from the infrastructure, from the emergence of the World Wide Web. If we talk about Meta, this is probably Zuckerberg wanting to catch up, not wanting to miss the game. So let's throw some resources at this. Let's bail on some other things we had, so on and so forth. Microsoft, I think they're kind of, very much in the formation as well because they've had major investments. But they're players. Let's just keep investing into the leader. Now, why I say they connect to CIA, because you got to go all the way back to Jared Cohen. You got to go back to, the CIA. Who invented the internet? The military. The military had the internet since mid-'80s probably, and we got it in 1990. But the reason the military released the World Wide Web is so that they could actually hold the infrastructure, partner with platforms like Google to actually create a system that they could actually infiltrate, hold, have back-end channels for CIA manipulation. And so how would AI not still be an extension of that?
Yeah, I don't know. But
So they're going to have major resourcing.
sure.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you're saying that OpenAI is not controlled by the CIA.
I don't think yet. Maybe not yet. I think that's the plan, right? Of I think intelligence agencies is to somehow infiltrate, hold, and
Influence,
take
yeah.
over. This may be what you're receiving from someone like a Sam Altman in his elusive tone. Maybe he's more nervous about what he gives away.
Sure.
Like I can only imagine it's not all peachy cream, like let's just talk about the advancements.
No, totally.
It's kind of like, man, there's so much pressure from this area. They want us to do this. We're going to give up our intel. They're taking people out. I got fired. And, that's real. People are losing their jobs. I've just got to hold this really loosely. I can imagine there's so much in the world that we can be naive about that, and I don't say this to scare us, but to kind of just take a sober look at what we invest in, what is actually under the control. And I think sometimes you got to dig a little layer deep to kind of understand who's pushing the agenda here and what is the end agenda of AI. Yeah. Is the agenda of AI to just help our lives, to enhance our lives, or is it, someone who's got a real idea, as you suggested, to have another level of intelligence?
Yeah. And whatever that level of control or influence and, how embedded those relationships are, my take, and this could be a very superficial take, is when I saw the interview recently on Bloomberg with Sundar, he just didn't have that dog in him to me. Like I was like, when I listen to Zuckerberg, when I listen to Elon, and maybe they are also influenced to a measure. Obviously, everybody is to an extent. But I just get this sense that people like Zuck and people like Elon are just kind of have this like, I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to do it and nobody's stopping me. Yeah. And the way in which I see the world is going to happen, you know? And I just didn't get that sense from Sundar. Even Satya of Microsoft, he was trash talking. He's like, in a recent interview, he's like, I make Google dance. I was like, oh, I think Microsoft actually might win. I was like, you know what I mean? Because it all comes back to high school. It all comes back to high school in that, man, whoever has that swagger, he probably getting the girl. You know what I mean? Like,
but that just proves my point. I think Sundar is controlled, right? So he's like, oh man, I've got to do this. I'm stuck. I'm controlled by the military. But you have got what I would say, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Sam's not a purist, but I think he he's always presented to me like, I'm really into this technology.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, he could have done so many other things. I think he's been working on this for 15 years,
Yeah.
something like that.
Over
So
a decade, for sure.
That's a lot of anonymity working behind the scenes.
True.
And it's really in the last year and a half, 2 years,
Just exploded. Yeah.
that people know he's a household name.
But I wonder if the moment they took that deal with Microsoft, it changed everything.
Probably.
So like once you take that kind of big money from an enterprise, right? That's probably being controlled by entities, you know?
Well,
It
I mean,
changes
what did they take?
100 billion?
50%.
Oh,
Yeah.
50 for 100 billion or something.
It's like I think it's like 49%. It's like half the company.
right.
But he's trying to raise what, 3 trillion now?
yeah, for his next,
Something like that.
for AGI or whatever it is. But
Crazy.
yeah, I don't know. I think the thing is and the bet I have to make, maybe it's not Sundar, because like a lot of people are calling for his head right now, but and it's mostly because of the speed at which Google.
But their stock is doing well.
Yeah. The dividends really helped, and they have so much infra
they
and
just
like
have so
product.
much.
Like,
Yeah.
are we ever going to?
Government's not
going
gonna
to
let them fail.
And that also, that
Guys,
also-
come on. Come on.
I want to touch on something actually. We've talked about AI a lot, and I want to touch on this recent craze. Have you guys been following? And it's related to all of this, but it's investing in general. But the meme stuff that's been happening at meme stocks, GameStop.
Roaring Kitty's back.
Roaring Kitty's back. Okay, so you guys are here.
Let's
So I'm going to give a
go.
little bit of context to our
I
listeners.
saw this funny meme though the other day. It was like Roaring Kitty gives great investment advice, but when he's not doing that, he's a youth pastor at
I
Elevation
saw
Church.
that. I
I was like,
saw
he
that.
doesn't look like a youth pastor at Elevation Church
I saw that. That was
with the headband.
Yeah. Did you send that to me? I don't know, because I saw it somewhere. I thought it was.
I think
awesome.
Michael Whittle posted it
Michael,
or something
yeah.
like that. Yeah, it was hilarious.
So his name is Keith Gill. So if you're looking for an image of what he looks like, Roaring Kitty on Twitter. So back in 2021, he made a post on Reddit on Wall Street Bets about GameStop and how it's really valued. There's a high short interest, and that like retail investors should get in and make a play. Eventually, that led to a short squeeze of GameStop. The stock pumped, and then there was this whole run out of was that stock manipulation, you know. And in traditional stock markets, the stock market can freeze a stock if there's a lot of volatility. Where in crypto, you can kind of just run up and down, you know, at free will. So during that initial frenzy, GameStop was halted a number of times. Robinhood took a big hit on all of this. This time around, and then since 2021, I think he's been kind of off the map since then.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and then about maybe a week ago,
He came back.
His Twitter account
He's
reactivated,
back.
and maybe every hour and hour he's just been posting memes
Yeah.
about really about who knows what, you know, really. And then there's a lot of like,
Well, there's a lot of people that were mad
messaging.
with him.
Oh yes, government
So-
people.
Government people.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is what hedge funds do.
Yes.
So what he did is what hedge funds do.
Yeah.
Hedge funds just get insider trading, and he did the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
So he pushed the market by compelling people to come with him.
Yeah.
And then all the insider trading that was done, you know, whether the hedge funds know a government, you know, loophole or what's going to happen in foreign affairs, there's George Soros, how he made his money. They know what is going to happen a year from now, 2 years from now, whatever. Then they short the stock, or if they know they're going to bolster a government, then they actually invest. So they have a huge windfall. That's how hedge funds make their money.
Yep.
But when a little person does it, because they rally a community, well, then they're like, oh, we don't like that.
Yeah.
Of course they don't.
Because then they lose
Yeah.
all their money.
Yeah.
And that's what Roaring Kitty has done.
Yeah. And now he's back. The stock is pumping again.
Again,
But
let's go.
it's almost like a year in the cycle, and it's crazy that it's happening again. But I just get curious.
I thought it was going to be a one-off because a
Yeah.
lot of people still lost money.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But he started this movement of diamond hands,
Yeah.
or just holding
Yep.
for the right to be a part of this community, and people have just been holding all the way through.
They're still holding.
and they're still holding, and they're now riding this wave again, and now it's giving them more. What is this inspiration that he was able to give these people, like the little people?
Well, you tell us because
Yeah.
you're in crypto. So
Yeah, that's kind of where crypto
your
started.
world.
Honestly, that's where crypto started. Really, was this idea that we need to
Yeah.
get away from the government and like letting anybody else have control other than ourselves.
Exactly.
But now you know you.
okay,
that's much harder
so
than it
this
is,
is my question,
Yeah.
right? Because in my opinion, it's the same exact thing with Bitcoin. At the end of the day, Bitcoin is just based on belief.
but- yeah.
At the end of the day, there's nothing like really. I mean, you can make a lot of different arguments. Oh, decentralized systems,
Right,
blah
right,
blah. But
right.
at the end of the day, I think mainly why it's priced the way it is mainly based on belief, right? And so I was actually talking to somebody about this recently. Actually, some of your colleagues and friends that I won't
really?
name names, but they're so deep into this, right? Like they've dedicated their lives to this. They're building companies around crypto. They're investing in crypto and things like that. And I asked a question.
Yeah.
I said, okay, hey, we serve 600 churches right now, and I'm hearing all these things about crypto and even Bitcoin, if we simplified it. Should I be encouraging churches to put 2%, 5% of their reserve strategy, whatever they have in savings, into Bitcoin? Is that a prudent strategy? You're so convicted in this. No, you can't. You can't. So I'm like, wait.
Interesting.
No.
Yeah.
For personal use, I would tell anybody to, but
Not with God's money.
and I just found that interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that their take is right or wrong. I
Right,
just
right.
found it interesting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
question.
Where it couldn't be substantiated even on that level.
Yeah.
Right.
Can I ask you guys about that? About specifically towards like church money, because that is a very different kind of topic about the stewardship of that, and then putting that towards investments. What is your take on that in terms of like, what are you allowed to invest in as a church, I guess? Because growing the money for the church seems like a great thing, right? Like you would want to grow the money and then it advances the kingdom of God. But
Yeah,
where,
I mean,
where
this
does
is
that happen? Yeah.
I mean, this is quite a big debate, I think, sometimes between churches, church boards,
Yeah.
that are, I remember when we first started receiving stock, it was definitely a robust discussion amongst our board. And we reached out at the time. There was we're probably split in the board. People were like, oh, no, if someone gives stock, we liquidate it straight away. We just do that.
Right.
I was definitely leaning on, hey guys, whoa. Like, if we're ever going to, afford buildings in the Silicon Valley, we might want to kind of really optimize and maximize what this stock growth could look like. So we collectively decided, let's talk to some big churches around the nation. Funnily enough, every one of them said to us, oh no, we liquidate straight away. We went back to as a board and we really discussed, hey, what if we do this? And we made a really cool rule. If it's tier 1 stock, we can hold it. But anything other than that, we'll just liquidate it and we'll just, make sure that that's a gift straight away. Well, what it proved out for us was, I think we gained a couple of $100,000, if I'm correct.
Nice.
That was actually pivotal in us getting our first building.
Yeah, for sure.
Had we had not had that stock growth, because it was in a very bullish kind of a season of stock market growth, it was arguably easy to argue that was the best plan. So I think you need wisdom.
Yeah.
I think you need to, and it talks to the market at large. Like, I think during the pandemic, I think stock trading went through the roof. All of a sudden, you had new traders come in. You have the emergence of Robin Hood.
I was a new trader.
You had tools, and I think that's even what speaks to Roaring Kitty. Now it's not just an old man's wealthy club.
Yep.
You've got people who, on their first paycheck, are thinking about putting a portion into buying, micro shares and different things like that. The way that shares are broken up now, you can actually be an investor without buying a whole stock, and things like that. And now there is actually people cluing into how the rich get richer, because it was like a private club of trading that they had no access to. Now it's being infiltrated by punks, in quotes, who are able to actually disrupt it because they understand that there is some corruption behind these things. There are insider trading. I mean, the fact that people like Nancy Pelosi can be so brilliant at stock trading. I think people literally, and they're making money off watching her share trades.
Right.
So I think this is kind of like with Roaring Kitty, I think it's definitely a movement of rebellion against just being a byproduct of, insider trading, and let's disrupt the market. Let's pull the rug out from underneath them. And because they're making money off shorting stock, and they're making money off puts and all these things. And we've got to take that back.
Yeah, but it's tough because even with the information we have now, I can't even imagine what it was like back in the day when you couldn't get access to this. There's still so much information we don't have. And like you said, the rich get richer because they're now connected with the inner circle of people that aren't doing insider trading but are at the same time giving you that kind of information that allows you to make that right call at the right time. And so it makes it hard to be really a good investor, and it kind of feels like you're still gambling because you don't have all the information.
100%.
And you're just making like an educated guess. But it's like you do have to take that shot. And I do think
it's gambling.
Yeah.
I think there's a way to approach the stock market that is gambling and a way that isn't gambling. I think if you've got a a product that you believe in and that you actually think is a great investment, if you look at it as I'm an investor in a company, then actually that's a great way to enter the stock market, because I'm going to watch this company build and I'm going to watch my investment go to work.
Long-term view.
Yeah. If you're looking to get in and trade and make a quick, well,
gambling.
you're actually gambling. So you don't even know what the company's about. You just see the way that it's building, you see the high, and you're actually foolish because you're gambling with money. So I think that is the wrong way to approach. Now, getting on board with Roaring Kitty and their plan, I mean, if you need to have diamond hands and hold and you want to be part of a movement, I'm sure that's going to...
Yeah, I think what he's solving for people is community.
Exactly.
Right? I don't think he's
You're
actually
going to find a belonging.
Yeah.
He's not really solving financial problems for people.
Definitely.
He's just solving, I get to belong to this Reddit group. I get to belong to this community. And it's a water cooler conversation on a Monday that's really exhilarating and exciting for me. Because to Pastor Adam's point, I think, and that's part of my issue with crypto, is I think a lot of people that are in it are misinformed. They are just trying to flip. They are just trying to make a quick buck. And it's almost always the case that when you're having that mentality, you will lose your shirt. And you'll get in at the wrong time because you don't understand it, right? And I don't fully understand most of crypto. What problem is it solving? If I did, I'd probably have more conviction. I'd probably be more bullish on trying to educate, our customers about it and things like that. What I do know is that there are people that do understand it, that do want to be generous with it. So we're going to be the infrastructure that allows people to give those assets. But if we don't personally understand it fully, I do agree with the advice of, hey, liquidate it, unless it is a tier one like Apple, Facebook, Google, that's not going around anywhere anytime soon. And so that's kind of the approach. But what's so funny and ironic to me is that especially people that are Bitcoin maximalists that are really pushing Bitcoin under the narrative that it's sovereignty to the people, decentralized, because the rich are getting richer and, all that type of stuff. And they just get to print money. And I'm like, well, VCs own crypto. Banks now own crypto. Fortune 500 own crypto. You pumping Bitcoin makes the rich richer.
Yes.
It's just another it's just another asset class that makes the rich richer.
Exactly.
The funniest part about crypto, at least like
okay, here we go. The purist.
Yeah, but this is the thing. I'm in it. But the funniest part where I kind of disagree with like maybe like the maxis of like certain groups about like we're gonna overthrow the government. We're never gonna overthrow the government. There's never a situation. I don't care who you are that the government will say yes. You take over money. Money is your responsibility now. We're just gonna operate out of goodwill.
Right.
And you guys all just deal with money in a decentralized way. That's never gonna happen.
Well, because people's argument is this. Oh, well. What is USD? What is money?
Right.
Because it's not even tied to gold anymore. It's not backed by anything. No. It's backed by the military, dude.
Right.
Exactly.
Like it's backed by the defense budget.
Exactly.
That's how they enforce.
Right. And second, what you said about flipping, right? People are looking to flip a quick buck. If they really were crypto maxis, they wouldn't care what the price of Bitcoin was.
Exactly.
You just need Bitcoin to transact. It could be $1. Fiat doesn't matter to you.
Nope.
But everybody that you talk to is like, oh, Bitcoin is worth USD. So you really care about
the
fiat,
USD.
right? So that's the part that doesn't matter. And then the use case, we're still working on that part. The tech is here, but
stay tuned.
Yeah, the use case I think is definitely there. But I think on the topic of just investments in general, I think finding out that information is I think the key thing that I was like looking into when I was looking into all of this. And with
Look, there's no
Roaring Kitty, he
quick,
did that. Yeah.
rich scheme.
That's the biggest thing.
There is
get rich quick. There's none.
There is none.
And if it sounds like it, get out because it's not that.
Run for the hills.
There is none.
Yeah.
I think you have to really just almost sometimes be a traditionalist in ways and go, okay, what's the traditional ways
For sure.
that I can actually build
100%.
wealth? Because I do think it's God's plan for you to build wealth. Okay, so I've got to have some securities. I've got to have some investments. I've got to have some property. I've got to have some products. I've got to have all the areas, and I've got to actually move the faders over time. I'm not going to just all of a sudden make big on here and then, get out. Now, I know that does happen randomly. Okay, maybe there is a unicorn company and maybe there's an IPO or there's all these different things.
Anomaly.
But they're like a Steph Curry or a LeBron amongst the NBA. To stand out in that crowd is very, very, very difficult. So you're actually smart to actually keep moving on a strategy that is traditional.
Yep.
Let me find companies I believe in.
Yep.
I only invest in stock that I actually feel like I'm going to. It's a Warren Buffett method. Invest in Coke if you're going to drink Coke.
Yes.
But if you don't drink Coke, don't invest in Coke.
Exactly.
If you don't eat McDonald's, don't invest in McDonald's.
Right.
You gotta actually eat the burger that you're investing in, and you've got to believe in that product.
So good.
Yeah. And then I think this always comes back to what you guys have talked about a lot. It's people, right? You're investing in the people, the
Yeah.
team.
That's big for
behind
us.
it, right? And so like you guys have talked about that all the time, the deeper connection that you guys have and with the products itself. And so I think when you're looking into the product itself, look who's behind it, and then you'll kind of know your answer as well.
Look who's behind it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Definitely. All right. And then what else do we want to talk about? Actually, I wanted to talk about this in the beginning, but I recently just got my nose fixed, like my deviated septum fixed, and so just got the
What?
splint out. So if I'm bleeding on camera, just let me know.
You got it out today?
I got out yesterday. So,
Whoa.
And I
What happened?
so like when I was younger, I was playing football, got clocked in the face.
Yep.
Like broke my nose, it just popped it back into place, and then never got checked out. But I was like
Wow.
not breathing out of like one side of my
Wow.
nose for like 15
What's it
years
like now?
Oh, I can just like.
He's about
fully
to join
breathe.
Vibe Worship.
You're about to go for a run.
Yeah,
Look
I'm,
at you.
now I'm so excited to start like just fully like.
Yes.
What if I become LeBron James? Who knows?
What
Who knows?
happened?
I'm just saying.
No,
We
you're
don't
like-
really know what I'll be like, so I'm just
You're
throwing
on
it out
super
there.
mode right now.
But I just got an Aura ring. I ordered it yesterday, and I want to start
Oh.
tracking my sleep.
Hello.
And so I was curious what other products you guys are using today
Oh,
that you
my
find really
goodness.
useful. And because I've heard Aura ring, very expensive, monthly subscription. How long are people going to?
How expensive is it?
So it's about. It depends on the model. You got $399 to like $500 just for the ring.
Whoa.
And then it's $799 a month to actually
Whoa.
use it.
Oh
It
my
is
gosh.
HSA FSA eligible, which is
$7.99.
Yeah, $7.99
Yeah,
a month. Yeah, exactly. And then, but because it's HSA eligible, it's like a medical expense. So that's great. But yeah, I'm curious what you guys are using. Any Brex?
What do you use?
Oh,
that-
okay.
yeah.
So I highly recommend this product.
Yeah.
It's called 8 Sleep.
Oh, I've been
8
looking
Sleep
into that. Okay,
is
cool.
a mattress cover, tech-enabled mattress cover that goes over whatever mattress you have
Yeah.
right now. It's connected to a pod that you put water in. It's really easy to set up. And basically, it is a tech-enabled, temperature-controlled mattress cover, essentially. And it learns your REM sleeping patterns to be able to modulate the temperature based on the optimum temperature when you're in REM.
Right.
So it keeps you in REM for the maximum amount of time, which is actually where all the regenerative properties of sleeping come in. And it's been a game changer.
Yeah.
And then it has all the analytics like an Oura Ring would or an Apple Watch in terms of, or a Garmin in terms of your sleep quality and things like that. But it's been a game changer because it splits the bed.
Yeah.
Kim and I just have different preferences, right? She always wants it a little bit hotter. I want it way cooler.
Yeah.
And so we can split the bed.
That's really awesome.
And do that. And so probably one of the best investments that I've made in the past 12 months. Yeah. It's really, really good.
That's what I've been looking into, so I'm definitely going. But I'm like, because I'm so focused on getting better sleep, and so I want to get the analytics around. I've never tracked my sleep or done anything like that. Doing this procedure was the first time I've had a sleep study done and like gone down that route. So 8 Sleep. What about you, Pastor Adam?
I mean, I sleep fine. I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. I
He's
sleep.
like, you should invest in whiskey.
Yeah, whiskey is it's a great remedy. No, I honestly I love sleeping. So
Yeah.
I mean, sleeping's superpower. I'm just trying to stay up past 9 p.m. at the moment. Kira and I like we get into bed at 9 and going, are we allowed to go to sleep now? Like we literally have been loving that and getting a lot
How
of
do you
sleep.
wind down to where 9 is you're ready to sleep?
I don't know, but I also don't want to jinx it because I can literally just get to bed and sleep.
Really?
I can do it.
incredible.
I think it's
You
because
don't have like a wind down routine, like
no. I think
hey,
it's just I
just-
get up so early.
right. So you're just done.
So my day's starting at like 4:30, 5 a.m.
Right.
And
You're like,
so,
I'm done.
and so I'm like, I'm done. I'm done.
Body done.
My daughter's always trying to have like a deep conversation late at night.
Oh,
So my Zara will come in specifically, and I'm going to fire off a podcast with her actually, where we're going to do
let's go.
dad-daughter theology conversations.
beautiful.
Where she's just going to ask me all the hard questions she asks me late at night.
Nice.
I'm going to channel her to a podcast where my brain's actually functioning. But we have these deep questions. I'll be about to go to sleep, and she'll be like, "So, Dad, tell me about the Nephilim." And I'm like, oh my gosh! So we'll do that. But I'm back to the Garmin watch, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I was on the new Apple Watch. I got gifted an Apple Watch, and so It's pretty big.
Yeah.
And I tried to persevere with it.
Is it the Ultra?
The Ultra.
Ultra, yeah.
And
You
I
like
just
the Garmin better.
I really love the simplicity of the Garmin. Like it's just button on, like because you have to swipe the screen.
Yeah.
And when you get a little sweaty and it's just and you're trying to
annoying.
stop
Right,
it and it's not responding and it's like, oh, this thing's annoying. And the battery life, if you don't charge it,
Oh, the Garmin is
you
really
go to
good.
use it and you're like, oh, now I have to wait like 10 minutes for it to try.
Garmin
and
will go 3-4 days.
9 days.
Oh, 9 days.
Wow.
The one I had was 3-4 days.
I got this like
days?
sapphire one, I think. And
It's amazing.
it lasts 9 days.
Wow. It's best
And-
for running. Does it do other activity tracking like weightlifting and but it's best for
Yeah,
running?
it does all of it.
It does all of it.
I think it does all. I think.
I've heard the Garmin is more accurate than
Oh, it's way
the
more
Apple.
accurate.
Okay, that's why. Because
It's
I've
way
heard some
more
runners
accurate.
say
It's
they,
the most accurate.
It
It's
is
the most
definitely
accurate,
the
yeah.
most accurate. And but as far as tech, not much, man. I'm
much.
shooting the guns
Yeah,
out on the
yeah.
property. That's my thing
That's
right now.
fair. I think like most of it. I think now people are like productivity apps on their phones, maybe on their laptops and stuff. But I'm just curious what other like physical products people are using. This is probably gonna be my first.
Yeah, I'd like
Outside
to
of, like, a
know
watch?
how
Yeah.
it goes.
Yeah, I'll check
I
it
would
out.
love to know.
Yeah,
I used to have the Aura.
And what
ring.
did you think of it?
It's kind of that charging issue.
Okay, yeah, that was my
I
concern as well.
I stopped kind of using it because I was really bad at like remembering to charge it
Yeah.
and stuff. You just don't remember to like, take off a ring and
Yeah.
and then when it doesn't work, you're like, oh, that was a waste of a day.
Yeah.
For this,
'Cause the missing
device.
data, it's all based on data, right? So
all
if you
based
miss-
on data.
If you miss one whole, like it just
Yeah.
starts, you get less
Yeah.
analytics, right?
Exactly.
So, alright.
You might as well throw it away.
That's
Where are you gonna have the ring? Which
index finger? I
so
think is the
oh
best.
okay
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
I'll
so
have
it's a
my-
supplement to your wedding ring.
Yeah. So I'll have it on both. Eventually, I want
And that was kind of
rings
the
on
another
hand, like Tom
anno-
Brady. What?
that was the other annoying thing for me is like multiple rings. This
Right,
wasn't
right.
like super like a jewelry item.
Yeah.
And then you kind of take it off if you're bench pressing. I
Are you
don't
a
know.
jewelry?
Yeah, that's a
Are you a
part.
jewelry guy or non?
No.
You're not a
Yeah.
jewelry guy.
No, I
are
don't
you?
have any accessories. I have like zero.
Yeah.
You like.
No, I'm not opposed to it.
Right.
Like at one point, I do want a watch, like a nice watch.
Yeah.
I actually told Kim, I was like, "Oh man, I'm gonna get a nice watch once we raise a Series B." And then we raised a Series B. I was like, "I just,
I don't want to
I'm,
spend
I'm
money
just
on that.
not.
Yeah.
I'm just not gonna do it."
Yeah. I feel like there's like a whole. I'm on the camp of like not having a nice watch. I mean, eventually, maybe at some point, but like there's such a movement for people that do want a nice watch, but it's such a hard task to get money. And then the thought of it, just wearing it on my
That's what I
wrist, is
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it's very difficult to think of. So
Yeah.
I might just be cheap.
It is a
I don't know.
It is a statement piece.
Yes, that's what people.
It's like
tell
a
me.
it's a level of manhood.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
that you arrive at
Right.
when you get your nice watch. But
Yeah.
I'm definitely a jewelry guy.
Yeah, that's fair.
I do like accessories.
Yeah, I feel like it's either or. I feel like
Yeah.
there's no in the middle. It's like
No.
you're either that.
You
or
can't
you're
be
not.
half in.
Yeah, you can't be half in. Because like you said, it's not like you don't want a half statement on your
You
wrist.
don't have a statement.
That's funny.
Yeah. And then
A calculator watch. You
that's
remember,
what I would
remember
get.
those?
The
I
functional-
knew you would get one of
a
those.
functional watch. If it's not doing anything, why is it on my body? It's got to be
I just pictured you back in the 90s with the calculator watch in class.
Cargo
going,
shorts.
Oh, yeah. Can do math. Yeah.
Dude, cargo shorts.
Cargo
you guys wear
shorts.
Cargo shorts are my thing. People used to make fun of me, but now
What are
it's
you
back
hiding?
in.
I mean,
hiding.
they're utility.
Utility. You have all the pockets. I never had anything, but if I needed to, I had the pockets.
I mean, you didn't have girlfriends, but you had pockets.
Hey, amen. What else? Anything else you guys want to chat about? The last thing I wanted to chat about was the thing we dropped last week, which was Biden's tax.
Yeah, let's
plan.
talk about that. I mean, I think the people have been waiting with bated breath.
Yeah, I feel like you were ready
They're
to
like-
jump on it.
I'm always ready to.
Can you just tell us your thoughts on Biden's tax plan?
Look, I think there is a very clear, right at this point. I mean, if we're going to just take a little political perspective
For sure.
on what's happening, because we probably need to ramp up the political narrative as we head towards November this year. And quite honestly, you've got to look at the two camps. You've got one camp pushing everything to try and make a presidential candidate illegitimate, okay? And so, going through all kinds of trials and things like that. Even the fact that the judge, I think it came out yesterday, that his brother or son is a supporter of the DNC or something like that. It's crazy because he's like definitely hushed, muted Donald Trump. I don't know what the word is for that, but he gets fined if he says anything. And it's like, hang on, how do you not have freedom of speech? That's like one of our inalienable rights.
Right.
Okay, so that's where the RNC are coming out in force and support. And then you've got, I think, it's such a clear and obvious play. Every policy from Biden right now is let's buy votes. whether it's, let's pay off college debts, let's try and get college votes. That's not working. Right. Let's try and bring illegal immigrants in to give them voting status. And then the new tax policy, where I think it's anybody who earns over $400,000 is now considered a super high income earner. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's two things. So it's first off, it's a tax the rich plan for sure.
Tax the rich.
Then there's this idea of being able to tax unrealized gains as well.
That's crazy. That one's crazy.
That is beyond me. I don't think any of this is going to pass, by the way. I think
there's no way.
It's just something that's put out there, but that is beyond. How could that even be suggested? It's crazy.
It's a socialist plan, right? Let's try and present something like a Robin Hood vibe, where all the lower maybe income earners in America, students, people with a lot of loans and debts. Let's try and present to them, we want to tax the rich, and we want to go after that money. It doesn't impact you. Vote for us. It's going to impact them. Because, I mean, in theory, the 1% are at the top, and the mass of people probably are at the bottom. So if I can buy cheap votes by making these promises, even though it would not ever get passed, at least he can hold his hat and say, I tried.
Right.
I tried, but they stopped me.
Yeah.
Not that I don't think him or his party wanted to go through.
Right, for sure.
It's just a play.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Pastor Vance?
Yeah, I think in general, there's so many rabbit holes you can go down politically, personality wise. There's this VC that tweeted the other day, the way I base my politics is who do I want my kids to be more like? And, it's just crazy. So
how do you answer that one?
Well, I don't think we can because it's so charged with emotion, right? And so I think what I try to come down to is, all right, what's the first principle that I'm most aligned to? And I think politically, what I think I'm most aligned to is I just don't want a big government. Mm-hmm. I want the smallest government possible because I just think that left to its own device, bigger and bigger governments, I think it's proven in history, doesn't lead to more and more freedom. It leads to more and more restriction. It leads to more and more dictatorship-like power and action eventually, right? And so when I hear things like, hey, we're going to tax unrealized gains, it's just one of many things that I hear that's like, wow, you want more and more government power. Right?
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
basically what you're saying. And anything that is doing that, I think I'm not for.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that definitely is a move towards a communistic era where there is no motivation to advance.
Yeah.
Because if I'm going to get taxed on unrealized gains, then even the idea of actually advancing is penalized.
And let me take the steel man to that, or the straw man, whatever you want to call it. Basically, the argument is, well, don't you want a compassionate government? Mm-hmm. My thing is like, oh, so we want to outsource our compassion to the government?
Yeah. Right.
We don't trust ourselves?
Right.
And maybe we shouldn't, but that's why I also believe in the local church.
Right.
Exactly.
To teach people principles like compassion and generosity. Yeah. And I'm not just saying it, I'm trying to build stuff that propagate that. And so my thing is like, I don't want to outsource the way that wealth is distributed to the government. And I also don't want to outsource the way that people are cared for to the government. Do I think that the government, in whatever resources that they get, should care for people? Yeah, but I don't want to increase the amount of outsourcing to them on that,
I think it's going to be very interesting what happens politically, because what's happening, I think, even with Donald Trump right now, it's really amazing to me that you've got a candidate who's going through these very politically charged trials. There's no doubt about it. But then what happens beyond that? I think where everything's sitting right now, it doesn't look even remotely likely that Biden will get reelected. I think just in the polls, the positioning, and the more they keep pushing Trump, it actually pushes people out of that, because I think most people probably do want at least if they don't want a small government, they want a fair government.
Yeah.
I think people long for a fair judicial system.
Of course.
And this looks so corrupt.
Yeah.
And it seems like this could be Ukraine. This could be Russia. This could be an election. Well, how come, Putin is president again? Well, okay, because they control the elections. Mm-hmm. They kill any adversary, or we might not be killing them, but we're definitely persecuting them. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what the backlash would be from that when Trump gets into office and, goes after obvious illegal activity from Hunter Biden. I mean, we've got all the evidence, all these kinds of things. And I mean, look, what's even coming out now are people being prosecuted for election fraud during the 2020 election.
Yep.
Okay, so, and even with, I'm going to put my CIA hat back on. I forgot to put the tinfoil hat on, guys. I'm sorry today, but we know from fact that CIA rigged the Italian election that got Mussolini out of government. We know that they filled ballot boxes. We know that is a pattern of American history. Why was it over the last several years it was such an alarmist thing to say that the election would have been rigged? But it's evident that we've done that in the past.
Right.
And so right now, and I mean, I don't know if you saw that rally that Trump just had in, I forget where it was, maybe somewhere in Florida. You got to look this up.
It's massive.
It is one of the biggest political rallies in the history of America.
Really?
Trump came in like an absolute superstar.
Bieber out here.
He did a flyover in the Trump plane. Where was this?
Michigan?
Michigan. That's right. Sorry, I said Florida. I don't know why I said that, but Michigan. But they do these reports on the crowd, right? So
this is live. Sorry, this is happening right now. He's doing one in Michigan, so maybe it was Florida.
No. You got to look at the large one last week. I don't know where it was.
Let me find it. Yeah.
Check this out. So there's a camera photo, and this is a reporter going, this is one of the biggest crowds I've seen looking this way from where the media station was set up at what was meant to be the back of the crowd, okay?
Wow.
But then they pan around and the crowd behind them was even bigger than the crowd in front.
Wow.
So they put the film cameras all the way to the back of the crowd where they think that, that'll be the back. But so many people came out that they were in the middle of where the crowd was. It was gigantic.
Yeah.
And so you've got like this huge groundswell. And the argument is, hey, Biden can hardly get 200 people to an event. You've got, near 100,000 people coming out to an event that where Donald Trump is speaking. And yet, how does that not show up in the polls?
Right. Well, maybe it will this time around.
Yeah.
Maybe it will. I mean, I do think that these past 3-4 years, I have seen a huge swing back towards popular conservative voices that are being received by large proportion of people, right? And it's even getting popular on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's not, they're not getting canceled.
Yeah.
At least anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing these kind of conservative principles come back with a vengeance.
Yeah.
And do I agree with all of them? And do I agree with all of these personalities? No, but what I do find refreshing is that I feel like there is room again for multiple different voices and perspectives. And I think that's
really
very important.
Very important. I think it kind of ties to what we talked about last podcast where about sharing your opinions.
Yep.
And I think what happened maybe over recent years, like definitely around when the vaccine was coming out, even just asking questions about the other side of a point just got you canceled immediately. But now it feels like people are more willing to have a conversation, and people that, now have come out to be wrong about certain situations, it feels like they're primed to be attacked. But I think the right way to do it is to have some compassion as you go about this, or it's just going to be the other way, and it's just going to be.
Let me ask you a question.
Combative, yeah.
Is the contention in the presidential race not just a values or a policy situation? Do we as people want a leader? Do we need leadership? And do we look for leadership? And so that's where the personality play comes so much important, because we're looking for a particular leader.
Definitely.
You need that dog in you.
Right. But as a nation, are we literally going, we want a leader. We want someone who's going to protect us. We don't want someone who's just going to let the border open because it's personally gained. Do we want a leader? And maybe I'm wondering if I don't know if there's a whole group of people all of a sudden like Trump.
Yeah.
But maybe do they go, hey, this guy's actually got our best interests. If I could put my own agenda aside and my own maybe proclivities, but is this the best thing for my family? Because we've got even all the reports of these illegal immigrants now killing people, stealing stuff. I don't know if you saw the other day, just yesterday, there's a news. Tesla chargers are all getting, the charging cords are getting cut off for the copper. And so that's just crazy. Yeah. Like you can't even charge your car now because the charging stations are getting stolen. So it's like, okay, well, we don't want illegals because illegals come in, they have no heart for society or the community. There is a way to come in legally, but ultimately, I don't feel protected.
Yeah.
So is there a big part in this maybe election cycle where people are looking for leadership? And here's my question to you. How important is leadership?
Oh, I would say it's huge, right? How do you have change without leadership?
Right.
And so, I mean, you guys are both leaders in your space. Like, there's no way you could have your company just run, and
By committee.
By committee. I mean, like, you hope the ideas, but you really do need somebody to shift the forces one way or the other, right?
Okay, so how does that work with the blockchain and
the idea is that you have the idea is that you have enough stake of people, so you have different levels. So we don't all have stake to make decisions, the same stake. So you might have more stake than I do. And
so I'm a leader by default then if I have more.
Yeah, but you plus Pastor Vance gives you the same kind of
Okay.
decentralization. So 2/3 of us are still making the decision, but you guys have more stake than I do, if that makes sense.
Oh, got you.
So that's kind of how it works in like these stake-based systems. When it
Right.
was proof of work before, you'd achieve consensus by actually doing hard work. But now it's just a matter of is there enough forces out there that have enough stake to make a decision to get it? But
See, it's interesting to me because I feel like there was a definite push away, like a rejection of leadership.
For sure.
Definitely through what we would call the crisis of COVID era.
Yeah.
I feel like there was a really weird rejection of leadership. And then that's where we've got the Biden era. Yeah. And now it's like, feels like, oh, no, actually, we want some leadership. And, it's kind of like, even through the defund the police, we don't want authority. We don't want this. It was like this movement societally against, let's reject that. And then realizing, oh, actually, no, that's actually good for us.
right.
So I'm interested. I'm always looking socially about how just people trust leadership. And I think it goes through facets. It goes through ebbs and flows of, do people actually want leadership or do they want to reject it?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be curious what you hear, Pastor Vance, but it just makes sense.
I'm
to
a
me.
huge proponent of leadership.
Yeah.
I don't really see a lot of, like you said earlier, massive movements of change without a strong leader.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
And so I'm a huge proponent of leadership. I do think that my hope and my prayer is that whoever becomes president, and even just the president after that there's a movement back to also, this is our prayer as a church, God-fearing leadership.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I really believe that's going to bring the protection, that's going to bring the renewal, that's going to bring the redemption that I think people deep down inside are actually crying out for.
Right.
And so we're praying for generations down the line that places like Vive Church, companies like Overflow, would produce the leaders that are God-fearing, leaders that revere God,
Right.
to the extent that not only are they do they got that dog in them, but they honor the one and true God. They honor Jesus. They honor his principles. They honor his ways, because that's, at the end of the day, the only thing that's really going to be blessed.
Yeah.
In saying that, I do think that we do have a responsibility as Christians. And I don't like the language of, pick the best of, two necessary evils, all that type of stuff.
Right.
I think we need to be convicted in our policies. I think we need to be convicted in whatever we can do in the interim, to move things in at least the right direction.
Let me ask, what do you want in a leader? What are you looking for? Is it that dog?
I joke. I think part of it is that.
Yeah.
I think what I want is clarity.
Yeah.
Right? I want clarity. I want, and that's hard because politics is very murky, I feel like, especially in this day and age. But there are certain things from the past administration that totally line up, like actually executed, lined up with our worldview of policies that were in place.
Right.
Things that promote pro-life, things that protect this country, right? And things like that. And I think that you have to look at all the evidence. And I think people that are intellectually honest are looking at all the evidence, and they're putting personalities aside for a second.
Right.
And they're going into the direction of what really the policies are leading them towards.
Right.
You know,
I think the thing I'm looking for, and it's never going to happen, but like you want something that blurs the party lines and that unifies the country. I think right now we see a country divided, and then you kind of have almost, the U.S. imploding from within. And then while there's that internal turmoil, you have these other countries that are kind of like taking steps ahead innovationally in the way that they're moving. Whereas U.S. was like the leader in most categories at one time.
Right.
And now we're kind of falling behind in certain areas. So it'd be good to have a leader that can, even if you are on one side of the line, find some way to unify, the nation instead of divide. So I don't know how you do that. It seems, obviously much easier said than done, but
Yeah.
that would be because I think as a person,
I think the nation is more unified than we think.
and that's also true.
yeah,
It
it's
could
what
be.
you focus on, right?
I think
Yeah.
it's more unified than we think. I think I honestly think the majority actually want a good America.
Yeah.
They want a prospering America.
Yeah, they want wealth.
They want
Fundamentals.
they want a protected
Yeah,
America,
for sure.
and
Yeah.
they want to provide
They
it
want
for
safety.
America.
Yeah.
And there's a clip, you'll probably see it on YouTube, where in his speech at this mammoth rally, Donald Trump he shares his negotiating tactics and the way he negotiated with Emmanuel Macron when he was the president of France, president of France.
Not sure.
One of the two. And Emmanuel Macron was pretty much, he was dialoguing this thing saying, sorry, we just passed some tax laws. It's too late. We've already passed them. I know it doesn't benefit America, but you're too late.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump said, that's fine. Okay, cool. So every champagne, everything that comes from France, we're going to triple the tax pretty much. We're going to, and then he's, oh, no, don't do that. And he does his accent. It was amazing. It was hilarious. But he just, what he revealed, I thought was very smart.
Yeah.
He said, we're bigger and we ain't going to be pushed.
Nice. Yeah.
So whatever you're prepared to do to us,
Yeah.
we're going to do and he literally revealed Emmanuel Macron just crumbled and, oh, no, we'll change it, right? Yeah. So I think it's like knowing who we are.
Yeah.
I want a leader that knows who we are and defends America first.
Right.
It's got to be America first.
Yeah.
And I think that that's just what most people are looking for. Most reasonable, rational people are looking for.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, right? When you say that, I also really honor America's history in being the most generous country in world history, right? Even till today, when you look at the amount of philanthropy that comes from this nation and our ability in the Silicon Valley to plant churches all over the world, right?
Exactly.
Because it's that whole adage, this is a leadership adage that we talk about at Vive, right? Is, hey, put the oxygen mask on yourself first. If you're going to be any good to anybody around
Exactly.
you,
Right.
right? And so there's all these smoke and mirrors sometimes about, but what about compassion? What about, it's like, no, you can't even be compassionate if you yourself are not good.
Right.
Like you have to be good. You have to be solid so that you can also help others.
Yeah.
That's good.
That makes sense. It was a great podcast. I think we're at time. I just wanted to remind everybody, we could be wrong. These are all our opinions. We
No,
talk
I-
about
No, I
it.
think we're
Okay,
right. Honestly. Actually, this is the title.
Wait.
We're probably right. This one,
We
this
were
one
wrong.
We're probably right.
One of the podcasts that we were wrong. That was it. Just gonna re-edit it.
I love how you feel like you had to qualify.
Yeah, I don't know.
People already know.
That's true. Fair enough.
It's not just we could, we're probably.
Yeah.
But, no.
But no, but it's cool. It's cool to be able to talk about this kind of stuff, and just have these conversations and
Yes.
learn. I learned a bunch when I'm just chatting with you guys. So
Yeah.
hopefully everybody out there is listening and learning as well. And
And come to Amen.
AmenExperience.com.
Amen. We are but weeks away from Amen,
exciting.
and it is going to be so much fun.
Yeah, it is.
At this point in the lead up, I'm just so excited getting the family together,
Yeah.
get people from all over the globe together, and it is just going to be a wild time.
from everything, this is the biggest one yet.
Oh, for sure.
This is
We've
by
got
far-
30 different sessions.
It's crazy.
Oh, it's going to be incredible.
Yeah, I'm excited. What's
I think you're speaking at a session, by the way.
Huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sweet speed?
No.
I'll talk about it again. I don't know.
You're a
Am I
product.
really?
You're a product of your own success.
AmenExperience.com.
Yes.
Yeah, sign up. All right.
Bye.
Cheers, guys.